So, our question today is why study literature? I mean, some of you guys may like books, but frankly, most of my students say, because it's required. I'm taking English 102 because it's required. So, I think it begs the question, or it's a legitimate way of thinking about it, why do we require 100 level literature classes? Why on earth does every institution demand that students get through at least one semester of English literature? And I mean everybody, Sacred Heart and Fairfield U. If you go to Quinnipiac or Southern or Pomona, Boston College, UCLA, Princeton, Harvard, Yale, wherever you go, whatever you study, they demand that you as a college graduate have completed a semester of English literature. So part of this has to do with this notion of general education skills. We want college graduates to have a set of knowledge, a range of basic knowledge. We want college graduates, they are distinguished because they have some general knowledge about history. They have knowledge of cultural expression as manifest in these traditions that have come together in this culture or that one. College graduates have been exposed to some very important lessons from the past. Some of these are really good lessons, lessons about valor, about integrity, about really smart choices, and about how to cherish things. Some of the knowledge college graduates have is knowledge about bad things, about the consequences of deceit, for example, about the effects of greed, about making disastrous decisions. College graduates have been exposed to all kinds of this knowledge as it is contained in history and political science and literary study and even in the sciences. So part of this demand comes from our real commitment to giving you this kind of knowledge. At another side of this is that we want college graduates to also have skills. There's a set of skills that define college graduates. They know how to learn new words. They know how to choose them with precision and clarity. College graduates are good with words. College graduates know how to deal with difficulty and examine an issue that is complex. Some questions are easy, vanilla or chocolate. Some questions are really complex. Should I marry him? Is it time for me to move? Should I end this relationship? So college graduates have learned to develop, to consider alternate solutions and to draw conclusions, sound conclusions that are based in evidence. So one of the reasons you're taking a range of classes here at Housatonic, even those that don't seem directly applicable, is that these are the place where you have the opportunity to build some knowledge and to start practicing, start developing these very mature, very adult set of skills. Now, when it comes to literary study, when it comes to the study of literature, literature is great because it's just a fantastic playground to develop this knowledge and practice these skills. A literature class is a playground or a gymnasium or a CrossFit if you prefer, but it's a place where we focus very specifically on literary knowledge. And the reason literature is so useful is because it's dense. Literature is complex. Literature is rich. So the books, the history of books, the ways of writing is this rich repository of cultural knowledge. Part of that knowledge is history, different language, different people, different behavior has been appropriate and noticed in different times. That's why we'll read a range of literature so we can be exposed to how much things have changed and how much things may not have changed. Literature is a place where you will encounter beautiful language, beauty as expressed, beauty as manifest in language, which is a sensibility, awareness, a perception that doesn't come naturally. That's a thing that we cultivate, just as we cultivate good taste in wine, good taste in food, good taste in the people that we hang around. We cultivate our appreciation of beauty in all of its different perceptual manifestations. Literature is also a place where you can encounter really complex challenges. It's complex just to encounter it. It's complex for us. Some of the reading that you'll be looking at is really hard. It's dense. It's difficult. It's strange. But literature also has complex characters, characters with different dimensions, characters with different challenges, possibilities, different problems. And by reading of those and working through their problems, we get to avoid having to do it ourselves. We actually read about characters and all of their struggles and all of their triumphs because it helps us. It helps inform how we are going to live ourselves. It may be make-believe, but make-believe can sometimes have really, really useful information for real life. So literary is a great repository of knowledge, and that knowledge fortifies us and gives us a certain strength for which we can deal with more some of life's challenges. Literature classes, literature class. Literature is also reading and writing with and through literature is also a great place to develop some very important skills. We learn how to recognize complex issues that we may not have noticed or understood or even encountered before. We learn how to consider competing priorities. We develop these communication skills that are mature, that are professional, that communicate with nuance, with precision, with sophistication, that communicate what we really think and how we really feel. And to do that, to really become honest with what matters to us, we need words, we need practice, we need exercise in this land of complexity. So if I were to go back to my board, I would say, wow, there's a whole bunch of knowledge that we encounter in literature. We include knowledge about history. We encounter knowledge about beauty. And we encounter knowledge about complex characters. Some of that knowledge may be more relevant to you than others. You may be more interested in history. You may be more interested in beauty. You may just want more facility, more ease with encountering and managing the complexities that you face. Likewise, reading and writing about literature also helps us build some real skills. Skills for recognizing complex issues. Oops. I think a lot of things a lot of issues are complex. Things on the surfaces aren't always what they appear to be. People aren't always who they say they are. Decisions change over time. Just think of how much has happened in the last 6 months with COVID, with school, with our futures, with our families, with our energy. It's complex. And we get better at dealing with the complex issues when we have practice with them. Everybody doesn't share the same priorities. How do we deal with when we have competing priorities? I think that's part of what an election is about, actually. I I think that's what every argument in my house is about. We have competing priorities, and we'll always have them. How can we get good with them? Lastly, and most importantly, or most obviously, in English class, right, it helps us communicate and develop mature, professional communication habits and communication forms. Mature communication. There I go. So much for my clean board. Now, those are reasons why those are reasons why we require a literature class of you. For me, your professor, I love literature classes because insight is cool. I'm a professor. I'm a scholar. I'm a doctor of philosophy. All of those are sort of fancy ways of saying I've read a lot of books. I've read so many books. And in fact, those books, that knowledge, those words are my treasure. And like all kinds of treasure, treasure is the most precious when you give it away. So I am jacked every time I walk in the classroom, every time I stand in front of this video screen, because it gives me a chance to share my treasure. And it's a blast for me. So I want to thank you so much for signing up, for all the work you've done this first week to get going. And I'm going to have a lot of fun. And you know what? You may have a little bit of fun too. So again, welcome to week 1 in Love and Lit. Off we go.